Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my Julie and the Phantoms The Edge of Great reading vlog. So in honor of this video, I'm obviously wearing my Sunset Curve t-shirt. I am obsessed. I figured it was only appropriate to wear a Sunset Curve t-shirt while reading the Julie and the Phantoms novelization. I asked you guys on Twitter if you wanted to see this video, and you guys said yes, so here we are. But this is the Julie and the Phantoms novelization. It is a series on Netflix that everyone has been obsessed with recently, myself included. I've watched it 10 times, because why wouldn't I? I'm obsessed with this show, obsessed with the cast, obsessed with the soundtrack. I'm obsessed with just every facet of the show. So I thought that it'd be kind of fun to read this book and see how it compares to the TV show, and I think to get the most enjoyment out of this video, I think I am gonna have to make this a spoilery vlog, just because I think it'll be fun to actually go into like the specifics of how this differs from the TV show, because of course it is a novelization. You can't fit everything from the TV show into a little book like this. It's not very big at all, and I have heard that they do take some things out of the book. They do shorten some scenes, but I also believe they add stuff to it as well. We also get different POVs in this book. I don't know whose POVs we get. I know we obviously get like Luke and Julie and Reggie and Alex, I think, but I don't know if we get Flynn's point of view. So I'm excited. I don't have high expectations for this because it is just like a random novelization of the show, but I'm excited nonetheless. So I say let's just jump right on in. Okay, so I've just finished the first chapter, which is in Luke's point of view, and it was all about their Sunset Curve performance, and it was almost exactly just like the opening of the show. The only differences I could tell obviously were that we got like inner monologue from Luke and got to kind of see what he was thinking and like his like insights while they're performing. Besides that, things are pretty much the same, but a couple things that I noticed is he mentions that Bobby saying that he's a vegetarian and could never hurt an animal was just to impress Rose, which is Julie's mom. And I was always confused at the beginning of the show because he said he was a vegetarian and could never hurt an animal, and then Luke was like he had a burger for lunch, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But then like in the, I think it's the second episode maybe, right before this band is back, Reggie says, oh, I guess that vegetarian lucked out because he didn't die because he didn't eat the street dogs. But in the book they confirm that he's not actually a vegetarian, so that's interesting. And then the other thing that I noticed, which I don't know if this is in the show or not, but they called the place where they got the street dogs Sam and Ella's, meaning that the people who own the hot dog stand are named Sam and Ella. So it's Sam and apostrophe Ella. Salmonella. I don't know if that's just like a clever pun that they came up with, or if that was at some point actually in the show. I mean, I've seen the show 10 times and I've seen like posts about it like everywhere, so you think I would know if it was actually called Salmonella. I'm thinking that that might have just been like the author's creative way to like put a spin and like let you know that, you know, they're gonna get sick and die. But I love the last like couple of lines of this chapter. It's right after Reggie says that street dogs haven't killed them yet, and then Luke in his like inner monologue goes, as far as famous last words go, those were kind of on the nose. We were gone before the screech of the ambulance's siren pierced the air. What I want to know is everyone's reactions to them dying, you know, like the people who are waiting for their show, because their show is sold out. So like I just want to know all of the details. Like I want to know first-hand accounts from people who were there excited for the show. I want to know Bobby's reaction. I have so many questions and I need a season 2, but we're only one chapter in and it looks like we're going straight to Julie's chapter. Oh, so I guess that was just a prologue, my bad. But we're in chapter 1 now. And so far, like most of the dialogue has been like almost exactly the same from the show. I do notice that like they are like cutting out some words here and there. So I'm like very intrigued to continue on and get to Julie's point of view. So I'm gonna continue reading. Okay, so I'm on page 26, chapter 3. I'm at the part where the boys just appeared in Julie's mom's studio, and so far I'm noticing they cut out the scene of Julie screaming, running to her room, and having that like little conversation with her dad, and it just goes like right into them being like, this is our studio, and having that kind of conversation, which I understand because like that would just take up page time, and it's not necessarily needed. I kind of missed her running out and like seeing Carlos and her dad, but it's fine. And I'm also noticing that the dialogue doesn't feel as much fun when the actors aren't saying them. I mean, I can hear it in my head, which is making up for it, but there's just like the little things that the actors do, like their facial expressions and just like the certain way that they say things, like Charlie, when he's saying Luke's lines, stutters a lot, and I don't know, there's just these little things that they do that just don't translate into the book, which is fine. Like I said, I can picture it in my head, so I'm not like that upset about it, but if somebody were to just read the book, I feel like they wouldn't get the same experience as if they also watched the show. But I don't really anticipate many people just going into this book not watching the show, either before or after, so I don't know, but so far I am enjoying this and I'm excited to kind of see how it continues. I also did see a TikTok about this book where somebody said that this kind of confirms a theory that fans were having, so I'm trying to figure out what that theory is, and I'm kind of thinking maybe what the theory could be, but I already thought that was confirmed, so maybe it's something else. There was the theory about Rose being Julie's mom, but I thought that was confirmed, so I don't know if that's where they're going with this, or if it's going to be something more along the lines of to do with Bobby. I don't know. Joey is hitting my arm. I'm gonna keep reading, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated on if I notice if there is some sort of theory that I've seen floating around that is being confirmed. Oh my. Okay, I am low-key offended? Not really, but the boys just like poofed to the top of the Orpheum, and in the show, Luke says the line, I know being dead isn't our first choice, but it sure is easy getting around. And Reggie doesn't have his shirt. He's like, maybe for you, I lost my shirt on that one. They cut that line out of the book. That's like one of the most iconic moments of that whole like scene, and I love it because there's a behind the scenes video where they show the making of that one scene, because Charlie and Owen had to completely freeze while Jeremy has to somehow put his shirt back on and his jacket back on while being harnessed in on top of the Orpheum. It's insane. So now I'm just like kind of salty that that was cut out, but it's fine. Little lines like that in the grand scheme of things don't matter, and I already knew going into this that things would be different. It's just a shame that some of my favorite lines are being cut, but it's okay. It's okay. Okay, this hurts more than the last one. They cut out the lines. Oh my god, okay. So the part where Julie's singing Wake Up, which by the way I was totally listening to while I was reading that part, but she starts to like cry, and then they like freak out and they like poof out, and they're like, no. Like there's lines where Alex is like, I would know because I was crying in a room for 25 years and I didn't get a single hug from either of you, and like talking about all that. And then Flynn shows up and she's also crying, and then Luke's like, the only thing worse than one girl crying is two girls crying. And they cut it out. Oh no, I'm like genuinely scared to discover what other lines they cut out, because that line is iconic. How could you have cut that line out? It's like, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness, I'm so sad. That was such a good line. I'm gonna keep reading, but I'm very sad right now. Why would they cut that line out? The only thing worse than one girl crying is two girls crying. It's iconic. They did it again. So it's the part where Julie just leaves for school, you know, after Flynn finds out that she played music again, and they find their like old clothes, like a lot of their stuff is still there. Alex hands a bag of his stuff to Luke, and Luke says, sweet, clean shirt. I'm sorry, you cut out the part where he takes his shirt off, sniffs it, and says, same clothes since '95, boys. I'm sorry. You cannot cut a line like that. That's one of my favorite parts of the show. Oh god. Sweet, clean shirt. That does not have the same ring to it as same clothes since '95, boys. I'm sorry. And then there's they cut the whole part where the dad comes in and is taking pictures. I mean, maybe some of the stuff wouldn't have translated as well. Maybe it's not important. But to me, these are the scenes and the lines that make the show, and they're all being cut. And I am very sad about it. I might just need to go watch the show, just to fill the void that this book is leaving in my heart. You know what? It's okay. It's fine. It is. It's okay. My mind is filling in the blanks because I've seen the show 10 times. Like, I know everything that happens. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's fine, right? It's fine. But same clothes since 95, boys. I mean, how could they cut that? I'm gonna move on now. Whoever wrote this book is just really trying to hurt me. They just combined the scene where the boys are in Julie's bedroom and she's like giving them like the boundaries like talk and saying get out of my room, with the scene where Luke is in the kitchen just like looking at her fridge and giving her the pep talk to sing and get back into her music program. They combined all of that into one scene. And like I get it, you know, like I do. I understand why they're changing things because it makes more sense just lump it all in together instead of having all these different things happening. And like I get it, like this book is not allowed to be like 1,000,000 pages long. I get it, but it just hurts. It hurts so bad. Like this feels like when I read a book that I love and then I go ahead and watch the movie adaptation and they cut out all of my favorite parts. That's what this feels like, but backwards. And I'm in pain. I'm in pain. Like I don't know, it doesn't hit the same when all the boys are there and it's just like he just randomly has Bright in his back pocket. You know, it just works so much better with the kitchen being the backdrop. But there's that line where he says, take it from me, your tainted hot dog could be right around the corner. And it's just so much funnier in the show because she's making a sandwich and she's about to take a bite of the sandwich when he says that, and then she puts the sandwich down because she's like, oh, you know? It just hits so much better in the show than it does here. It didn't have the same power to it. It felt out of place. So I'm a little sad. But you know what? I'm just gonna pretend like it happened, like how it happened in the show, because that was just 10 times better.
Sometimes big, I'm falling down, I wanna cry, I'm calling out, but when I try to feel alive, and when I feel lost and alone, I know that I can make it hard through the dark. Find a spot, life is a reason I want to get, close my eyes and jump. Together I think we can make it. I'm gonna let it go out now. You might just try to get out. Ask myself.
I need to stop getting so upset that they keep cutting my favorite lines, but they cut out Reggie wanting to make a country album and him saying that he shreds on the banjo and Julie being like, then I'll learn how to fiddle. Breaks my heart a little bit, honestly. It was so funny because during the whole flying solo scene, I had flying solo playing and it lined up perfectly, okay? Like I don't know how I planned that so well, but we got to the part where there's like an intermission in the song and Flynn is like, oh my god, they're ghosts, and Luke's like, so do you join the band, Julie? And that part in the book was happening at exactly the intermission in the song was actually playing. So like it just happened so perfectly. Don't know how I planned that. I am now like halfway through the book. We just like got past all the pictures and stuff from the show, which we love. Chapter 15, page 99 is where I'm at, and Julie has just officially joined the band. I guess we're gonna see how they tackle everything. Things are quite fast-paced, obviously, and they are kind of like skipping over things. There's not a whole lot of descriptions, so it's a good thing that I have the show basically memorized so I can like picture all of their like movements and whatever in my head, which is kind of making this experience a lot better. I feel like maybe if I hadn't seen the show a million times, and maybe if I wasn't so familiar with it, maybe I wouldn't be getting enough out of this book if I was just like a casual fan. Although, like I said earlier, I don't know why you'd be reading this book if you hadn't seen the show or if you weren't a big fan of it, because I'm literally almost 21 years old reading a children's novelization of a children's TV show. Don't know what that says about me. Anyways, I'm gonna keep reading because like despite it not being like the best thing in the world, like it's very simply written, missing some of my favorite lines, I'm still getting a lot of enjoyment out of this book and I'm still like having a good time. Just all in all, like it's not the best thing in the world, but I wasn't expecting that going into it. I still don't know what the theory is that has been confirmed in this. I'm gonna assume it has something to do with Julie's mom, even though I already thought that was confirmed. So I guess we're just gonna have to find out as we read, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that that's not the theory because I'd like for other things to be confirmed instead of something that I already know is a thing, but I'm excited. I am excited for the potential of what could happen since we're getting to like some really exciting stuff. The most interesting things happen in the second half of the show. I'm intrigued.
I want you to know you got some place to go. Life's a test, yes, but you come tough too. You don't give up, no, you grow. And you use your pain, cause it makes you you. I wish I could hold you through it. I'm just not the same, you got living to do. I just want you to get up, like that's love. You know the rest of it. Wake up, it's all you do. Look out, look inside you. It's not what yours, it's what you get. Raising your voice away. Wake up, it's dreaming, it ain't true. Look out, look inside you. It's not what yours. We like that time, time to go now. Wake up. Run with those demons. Just look them in the eye. No reason not to try. You're gonna straight from melody. You show me how to do it. Get out, like that's love. You know the rest of it. Wake up, it's all you do. Wake up, wake up.
At the Hollywood Ghost Club and they're talking to Caleb, and Caleb says, my friend Willie tells me you boys have some magic of your own, and instead of saying this out loud, Alex says it in his head. He says, I wouldn't call what we have magic. Oh, about him and Willie. He doesn't say it out loud, which just ruins the whole moment. I loved when he said that out loud. Okay, so this is how it goes. Caleb says, my friend Willie tells me you boys have some magic of your own. And then in Alex's inner monologue, he says, I don't know that I would call what Willie and I had magic, or would I? And then in dialogue, he says, oh, well, we... And then Willie cuts him off, saying he means your ghost abilities. That moment is just not as satisfying. Like, why couldn't they have just put that in dialogue text? Like, I don't understand the need to change that, you know? I'm hurt. I honestly think the author of this book is trying to hurt me. Oh my goodness. So we're at the scene where they are about to perform at the cafe place, and Carrie just performed All Eyes on Me, except we don't actually see her play All Eyes on Me, which means we never see Alex go up on stage and dance. I'm sorry, but this author is adding things in places that we really don't need, like extra lines of dialogue or extra explanations, and instead is cutting these like vital, important scenes. Like, come on. Alex dancing behind Carrie in All Eyes on Me is one of the best parts of the show. Like, oh my god, I am upset. I am heartbroken. And I am not okay. Now I'm just scared, like, what they're gonna do with, like, the rest of the book. Like, what else are they gonna cut and hurt me with? I think I remember my mom, because my mom read this, I think I remember her telling me that they cut the Edge of Great performance a little short, which if that's true, I am not okay with, because that is my favorite performance in the entire show. Like, the chemistry between Luke and Julie is insane, and it's also just like one of my favorite songs in general from the show. I'm nervous, but as I'm reading, I really am finding myself filling in the blanks and gaps in my head, or like correcting lines in my head as I'm reading them if they're changed. So I'm like, I feel like I'm not reading the book as it's actually written, do you know what I mean? Because like there'll be a line where like a word is missing, or like it's rearranged differently, and I'll rearrange it in my head to be how it's supposed to be. I love the show so much, and I just don't understand like what's the point in like rearranging a sentence or cutting like a word or two off of a line of dialogue. Like, what's the point? I don't get it. I'm almost done though, which kind of worries me because we need to get through Unsaid Emily, Edge of Great, and also Stand Tall. And I don't quite know. Oh, and You Got Nothing to Lose. I don't know how that's all gonna fit in that little span of time. I mean, I guess if they cut Edge of Great short, but are they gonna cut every performance short? Are they gonna cut You Got Nothing to Lose? Because they almost cut it out of the show. Like, they almost didn't do it because they had budgeting issues. I will not be okay if they cut that out, because that's one of my favorites as well. I am feeling a lot of emotions at the moment. Also, if they cut the Edge of Great song short in the book, but had the audacity to call the book The Edge of Great, I'm gonna have some issues. So they also cut out the scene where Carlos is looking for ghosts in the house, and his Tia is like, there's no such thing as ghosts, and Reggie's like, I'm gonna help him, and he starts playing with the like blinds and the lamp, and then he puts the white sheet over himself to make him look like a ghost. And that's like one of the best parts of the show. Like, the comedic energy in that scene is just amazing, and it's like this like light-hearted moment to break up the seriousness of Julie's dad finding her having snuck out of the house, and it was cut out. Like, why are they doing this to me? Like, how big is this book? I don't know the constraints in terms of these kinds of books, like if there's like a certain word count that they have to stick to. There's literally only 201 pages in this. I feel like they could have gone till page like 250 and maybe just added some of these scenes and some of these lines that just didn't need to be cut. But like I said, like I don't know what kind of constraints there are when you're doing a novelization for kids, if there's like a certain page count that you have to hit or a certain word count that you have to hit. But like, kids can read a book that is 49 more pages. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't they just have made this like a bit bigger? Like, I'm pretty sure I have novelizations that are bigger than this. Like, I'm pretty sure the Smurfs novelization is bigger than this. I have the High School Musical ones, which I'm pretty sure are a bit bigger than this. Why? Why is this so tiny, and why are they cutting out the best scenes of the entire show? Wait, that means that they're gonna cut out the whole subplot of Carlos finding out about the ghosts, aren't they? I mean, maybe they'll still have him finding out that they're ghosts, but it's not going to be like as satisfying as it is in the show, because there's not this whole build-up of him looking for them. The only line we've gotten so far about Carlos and ghosts is when the dad like finds some orbs in the pictures he took in the studio, and that's it. You know, we don't have the scenes of him coming in while they're rehearsing and throwing salt on them, and we don't have the scene where he's looking for ghosts and wanting to protect Julie after they're done rehearsing, finally free. And then now we don't have this scene where he's like actually looking for the ghost and Tia is there getting all like scared. We don't have any of these things. So does that mean we're not going to see the part where he finds their CD, or where he's trying to solve the ghost in the house and the unfinished business with the like beef dip sandwich? Like, I'm so sad, because Carlos is easily one of my favorite like parts in this show. He's just so adorable, and his like energy and his comedic like moments and one-liners is like, it's the best. It's so funny. Now I'm really sad. I mean, I keep saying this, but like, it doesn't really matter like in the grand scheme of things. This still has like the overarching story they are keeping in the most plot important scenes, but I think it's just like those little extra moments, those little extra lines, the little subplots in the show that just really tie it all together and just really make the magic of this show and of this story work. And it feels very bittersweet to not have those things in the story, in the novelization. I'm gonna keep reading. We literally have like no space left. Like, Edge of Great is about to happen. I can feel it. And then I feel like it's gonna be so brushed over. I'm very scared right now. She cut Reggie out of the scene after finally free with the dad in the kitchen. Reggie's not in it, which means we don't get the one-sided bromance between Reggie and the dad. Brittany, it's okay. You can let it go. It doesn't matter, but it does. I just, like, it really is like those like little extra moments that just make this show, you know, the little relationships are just so funny, like the dynamics between the ghosts and the lifers, like all the little jokes that Reggie like has around the family, and like this one-sided relationship, like he feels so close to them and is making a family out of them even though they can't see him and they don't know that he exists. It's just so beautiful, and we don't get those, like we don't get that anymore. I think I was not expecting to like lose these things in the novelization. Like, I wasn't expecting to lose these little like subplots that I love so much. I probably should have expected it, but I didn't. I don't know what I was expecting, because I knew they were going to cut things out. I think I just wasn't expecting to feel so attacked by it. It's ridiculous. I'm fine. I am almost 21. I don't need to be so upset that they're cutting scenes out of my favorite TV show. It's fine. They kept the scene with Luke in the hallway with Nick and Julie, and I'm just, all is forgiven. They kept that scene in, and now I can die happy. Doesn't he look sharp? Someone's gonna crush on Julie. I need help. I take it back, they're not forgiven. They cut out Perfect Harmony. I mean, I realized that I forgot it when I was listing songs we still have left earlier. Perfect Harmony! One, okay, Charlie and Maddie wrote that song together and it was beautiful, okay, and it deserves a place in the show. And to be honest, I'm not really feeling the chemistry as much between Julie and Luke in the book, and I think it's because they are cutting out like all these cute, like, adorable moments between them, just like these little, like, I don't know, just like these little things that we're just not seeing that we see in the show. They're all missing. I feel like the scene that I just talked about is one that we see that chemistry in, and then of course in Perfect Harmony it's like really solidified. But then also just in general, most of their chemistry and their moments come from performing together, and we're just getting like the quick brush down of all of their performances. Like, we're not seeing the specific things that are going on, which like I get, and it's like a very visual thing to see the chemistry between people like that, but like, I don't know, there's just something about them in the book is just not as captivating, or like, you know, it's just not as satisfying in the book as seeing it in person. So like I'm very scared for the Edge of Great performance. I can already tell it's not gonna live up at all to the show performance. I'm also now wondering if we're gonna get the scene where the band is rehearsing without Julie, and it's like the chemistry scene where Luke goes up to Reggie's like, I have chemistry with everyone I sing with, where they're like, girls, am I right? Yeah, no. You know, like, are they gonna have that in here still? I have a feeling they're not going to, and I'm a little heartbroken by that, honestly, because it's like one of the best moments in the show. Clearly, I think every moment in the show is the best moment, but truly, like, every moment is good in the show. Okay, so they do still have the rehearsal scene, but they don't have that moment that I mentioned with the chemistry. Like, they have it, but they don't have, like, the moment where, like, Luke shows that he has chemistry with everyone he sings with. They don't have, like, the one-liners, and that moment's just not as satisfying. And the thing is they had room. Look at the rest of this page that is empty. They could have fit it, and it wouldn't have made a difference. It would not have added a page or nothing. It would have fit on this page beautifully, and they could have just extended it a little bit. Like, do you know what this feels like to me almost? This book feels like an outline. Book feels like an outline. It feels like they're just outlining what happened in the show and not expanding upon nothing. It's just the bare bones, and I'm very sad about it. They didn't just shorten the Edge of Great scene. It's not there. They what? They literally just fast forward to when they're in the kitchen after the performance. Oh, you did not just do that. I am so upset. That's literally the best performance in the entire show, next to like Stand Tall. I'm mad. I was not expecting them to cut the entire scene. Are you kidding me? What is the point? And you know what? There's also a lot of room at the end of this where they could have fit it in. They could have. I'm telling you, this feels like an outline. Bare bones. The skeleton of the show. And I am not okay. They also technically cut out the Unsaid Emily scene. I'm upset. They mention it, you know. They show Julie going to Luke's house and having Luke be there. And then, you know, they have like the meeting of the parents. And then we have Luke's point of view afterwards where he's like, oh, Julie showing my mom the song was like, blah, 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 blah. And then he's talking to Julie. Like, I was really hoping to get a Luke's POV of him like talking through that his parents like listened to the song and him explaining it, because I wanted more insight on it, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted more than what we could have gotten from the show. Like, I'm sad. I really wanted to feel the emotions of Unsaid Emily. I wanted to see him describe the pain on his mother's face and like describe everything that happened between them. Now I know why there was so little amount of pages left with so much story left to go, because they're just skipping over easily the best parts of the show. I'm mad. Okay, so I finished Julie and the Phantoms, The Edge of Great, and I have feelings and thoughts. So it ended pretty much the same way. It ends right after their performance, and they all like talk in the garage, and they have a like really cute feel-good moment, and then it just kind of ends. So we don't see the kind of like end part where Nick comes to Julie's house and gets possessed by Caleb, which, to be fair, I didn't really like anyways. Okay, so my camera died. It's hours later now. I had to let it charge, but we are back. And I've actually calmed down a bit since finishing the book and editing this vlog. I was dramatic while reading this. Like, yes, I am disappointed by all of the cuts that the author decided to make and all the things that they decided to leave out from the story. But this is a novelization of an entire series of a Netflix show that comes to about 4 hours in total, and this is just like a 200-page book. So already there was going to be cuts. This is also made for children, so things do tend to be simplified, so this wasn't targeted towards me. Now that I've had a few hours to think about it and to calm down and reflect on all my thoughts, I feel a bit better about it. Like, overall, like, I had a really fun time reading this today. Like, I just had a good time, and I think that's all you can really ask for from reading books sometimes, especially books like this. I had a good time. Am I still upset about some things they decided to cut and brush over? Yes. I'm mainly upset about The Edge of Great being cut, the Unsaid Emily being not as present. Still kind of upset about Perfect Harmony, but not as much. So just like in terms of like those kinds of things I'm a little upset about. I do understand why they cut down some subplots, like Carlos hunting for ghosts and Reggie seeking some family connection with Julie's family and things like that. Like, I understand why some subplots were cut. So like everything everything that went down in this book, I pretty much understand why. And there was also moments like the chemistry scene during the rehearsal that was actually improvised while they were filming the show. If this was written while they were still making the show, then I can understand why things like that would be put in here. So I do understand why things were cut. I feel a bit more at peace with it, but I do just think in general, if I want to consume the story, I'll probably just go ahead and watch the show. But in terms of the theory that the TikToker I saw mentioned that was like kind of confirmed in this, the only thing I can think of is at the very end when Julie is able to touch the boys. It's kind of talked about how they might actually physically be there now and that they're more a part of the actual world than ghosts. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe that they've become humanized in a way. Let me just read it to you. So it's right after the Hollywood Ghost Hotel stamp has like gone up and floated away. So it says, "What does that mean?" I asked, not daring to hope. "Are you real?" "We were always real," Alex sniffed, "but now maybe we're here?" "But for how long?" Reggie asked, looking stunned. "Will we still be solid tomorrow? What about the day after that?" Luke looked at us all, his eyes bright. "I mean, I definitely don't have the answers," he said, his voice hoarse, "but I think the band just got back together." And then later down in the page it says, "I had less idea than ever what was going on. I couldn't say if this was permanent, but for right now that didn't matter. Sunset Curve was here." So I'm thinking that's probably what the TikToker was talking about, but I still don't really know what it means. Like, they're real, but like, are they still ghosts? Like, are they getting a second chance at life? I'm hoping that happens because I really want to see Julie and Luke get together in the show, and if they're actually real, then there's more of a possibility of that happening. But I'm still kind of confused, but I think that's what the TikToker was referencing. Overall, I had a good time reading this book. Was I upset in the moment while reading it? Yes. Have I calmed down? Absolutely. I just realized I was being a little too dramatic and harsh on the story when I didn't need to be, because it's not that deep. It wasn't bad. I don't regret reading it. I actually had quite a lot of fun, especially just blaring the music all day. Like, I was in a huge Julie and the Phantoms mood today, and I was fully immersed and really happy about that. So overall, happy that I read it. Don't know if I'll read it again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below if you guys have read this book, what you thought about it. Let me know your thoughts on the show as well. Maybe some theories that you have. Subscribe if you have not yet already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.